Get into this New York Post story that came out yesterday. The headline of this story is how Jennifer Lopez breakup jeopardizes Alex Rodriguez's $1.5 billion Timberwolves deal. And I'll tell you, I read this morning, and my first thought was, all right, how can I summarize? I'll just come up with like a 2-sentence summary, and then we can talk about it. It's so deep, and there's so many interesting things in here. We don't do this very often where we just like read stuff, but I would like to literally read through this article and then you guys jump in and let's just parse it apart because there's so many fascinating things here.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is this. The headline is intriguing and clickbait, but it actually, as you read through it, it's actually way more in depth than her.
It is. It's
like at first I'm like, was she investing something? And then I read it more and I'm like, oh, I get it.
The headline, oftentimes on the New York Post, the headline doesn't quite live up to the actual content. This is the opposite. I think there's actually way more there's like 3 different stories in here. So let's just go through here. Alex Rodriguez is packed with e-commerce tycoon Mark Lowry to buy the Minnesota Timberwolves for $1.5 billion, appears to be in jeopardy. And some insiders claim his breakup with Jennifer Lopez is at least partly to blame. So I'll spare you some of the details here because they're explaining like last year, A-Rod partnered up with Mark Lowry. We know all this. So they entered into a deal that was supposed to make them equal partners when they made a $250 million down payment in July of 2021. This was a cash investment that, coupled with the assumption of a chunk debt on the team, amounted to a 20% stake according to those close to the situation. So, hey, we're in this together, $250 million for part 1 of what will eventually be like a 3-part overtaking of the majority stake of the Timberwolves ownership, 20% stake. However, A-Rod at the time had failed to come up with his full share, leaving Mark Lowry to cover the balance of the 20%. So as a result, Lowry actually has a 13% share in the Wolves, while A-Rod has 7%. Interesting. Alex and Mark were supposed to be 50-50, an NBA source said. Alex couldn't come up with his half. Now, terms of the deal require A-Rod and Lowry to make the next 20% payment by the end of this year, by the end of December. And A-Rod is scrambling to raise his half of the money in addition to the cash he needs for the down payment, 3 sources confirmed. Quote, I wouldn't be surprised if A-Rod becomes a subservient number 2 to Mark Lowry, a source said, predicting that Lowry might end up buying more than half himself and controlling the team with A-Rod as a minority owner. Lowry told the Post without confirming or denying that he owns a bigger stake than A-Rod, that the two, he did not confirm or deny that he owns a bigger stake, but he did confirm to the Post that A-Rod and Lowry will make decisions together. Quote, I couldn't imagine having a better partner. He's one of my best friends. There's no one else I would rather be partners with than Alex. If the story stopped there, it would be interesting, right? Okay.
Interesting. Which I thought it did. I thought it did.
So I'm still COVID coughing a week and a half later. So here's the J-Lo thing, all right? Quote from a source. Mark Lowry got completely mesmerized by the J-Lo thing, said a source who knows both investors. A-Rod frequently called for meetings with prospective business partners at the power couple's lavish homes in Bel Air and the Hamptons. And Lopez was typically on the premises, according to sources close to the situation. Quote from a source, you always took your A-Rod meeting with J-Lo. She's coming in and out of the room with workout clothes. A-Rod always made it seem like they were investing as a couple, the source said. So, hey, come on, why don't you come on over? Yeah, you could meet my gal. She'll just be jumping off the Peloton or whatever she's doing, her dance classes. So Lowry and A-Rod, they did try to buy the Mets. It did not work out. There's a lot more details in here about sort of the finances, but basically the gist of it is now that J-Lo is out of the picture, a lot of A-Rod's validation. Listen, people don't trust Alex Rodriguez. He was much more trustworthy. He's much more trustworthy, like paired up with Mark Lowry, who people do trust.
Right.
And when he was paired up with J-Lo, who people seem to trust, the public seems to love J-Lo, right?
Right.
But one of the undertones of this article is that now that J-Lo's out of the picture, the ability, quote, his ability to raise capital went from strong to meaningfully weaker. J-Lo validated him, end quote, from a source. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what's going to happen here. If Mark Lowry has enough capital and Mark Lowry himself has enough connections, then at least they're going to buy the team from Glenn in some form. But the fact that A-Rod is having trouble coming up with his part of the funds here is very interesting.
Can you read the Glenn Taylor part?
Let me find it here.
If you could continue to scroll down, it says exactly how Glenn will feel.
So if A-Rod and Lowry manage to make their next payment by year's end, they will then get the chance to buy an additional 40% and take control of the team by the end of 2023. If they fail, insiders say Glenn Taylor won't be overly disappointed because Taylor believes the value of the team has risen to about $2 billion since they struck the deal and believes he can make more money by starting a new sales process. The Timberwolves did not return calls. A-Rod told the Post, Glenn has been a good partner and we have learned a lot from him. But the thought here is that maybe if this falls through, Glenn would just go back to market and sell the team for even more. Whew. You know, it wouldn't bother me that much if Mark Lowry was the owner.
Yeah.
I think Mark is Mark is the one, he's the builder. Mark is the one who has actually built companies and built cultures before. Mm-hmm. A-Rod has been kind of a floating investor in things. He's like, A-Rod has only really ruined cultures in sports, right?
Yes.
So the more that Mark Lowry can sort of ascend to being the guy, and if A-Rod is a minority owner who's friends with Mark and maybe taps into some connections to get better facilities or whatever it is, I'm fine with that. But if this turned into more of Mark, less of Alex, it would not be devastating to me.
Well, no, but I think the question is this. If A-Rod drops out, which I believe I've got to write that down going back like 6 months, which says he'll be out in 2 or 3 years. It might not take that much time. The question becomes then, how many investors does Mark have to get the team? Because he's got a ton. I don't know if he has enough to actually buy it outright. My guess is he does not.
Derek Jeter want to join the group?
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm telling you, man, A-Rod wants to be Jeter, his old buddy. This is the same thing. And if you go back, and I think it was in the last episode of the Captain documentary, which was fantastic, it went through the whole thing about how Jeter wanted to buy a baseball team and come to find out, yes, you're rich, Derek, but you're not rich like the really, really rich. A-Rod to me is the same guy. If Mark Lowry can find a way to get investors in, my guess is from that story, no surprise, Alex is going to be out in a year. Like I don't see, I mean, I guess J-Lo being attached to you gives you validation and value.
Because she's a legitimate businesswoman. Like
yeah,
she
and
has
that's
built,
great.
She has built brands.
But I mean, this not, if I had come to you when this story broke that these two were going to buy the team, and I had said, okay, in X amount of time, A-Rod is going to be broken up from J-Lo. It's going to be a mess. The New York Post is going to do a really intriguing story. Would you have been like, oh, no, I think it's going to be fine? This is the most A-Rod thing of A-Rod things possible, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. There's another nugget here that I should read too. On his own, A-Rod might be worth $500 million, but little of it is believed to be liquid, sources said. Yeah. He owns part of a real estate portfolio with $1 billion in tens of thousands of apartments and homes, including some properties in Minneapolis, sources said. But that's the thing. It's like a lot of rich people are rich because of the value of the things that they are investing in. They don't just have $250 million in liquid sitting in a checking account to give to Glenn Taylor for a 40% or 20% chunk of a team, right? So there's being rich, but then there's being like liquid rich, which Alex Rodriguez is not necessarily.
The one problem that I see that actually might be to Mark Lowry's advantage here, but that I think could play out because of what's going to clearly be a hiccup in what the expectation was, is this, though. This is going to give him more time while he's an investor and not the majority owner of the franchise to dip his toe in the water of replacing Target Center. And I think if you're Mark Lowry and you're told flat out, hey, buddy, ain't happening, ain't going to happen, I think that at least changes your thought process before you write that last check. This team, flat out, needs a new building. They know it. I know it. Everyone who wants...
Wait. You're saying you want the new building before you invest more money in the Timberwolves?
I'm saying if I'm flat out told this is not going to work, we are going to put up we have built stadium after arena after stadium. And Mark, we are not going, in fact, 3 years ago, 4 years back, we just renovated your building. Mark, you are not going to get a new building for at least 5 to 10 years in this town. What I'm saying is if I'm about to lose the potential of buying the team, that might make it more palatable to just get out.
And I disagree because, first of all, let me get in while the stock is low before a building is guaranteed, because now I get in when the valuation is 1.5, 1.7 billion. So I'm in. And
Yep.
now they're in anyways. Like they've already agreed to this price structure and the valuation. But
correct.
But then once you get a new building, whether it's in 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, now and the NBA values keep going up. Now all of a sudden it's worth $2.5 billion or $3 billion. And guess what? If you don't, this is a great time to get in. Period in the NBA with an organization like the Timberwolves, because there's really nowhere to go but up valuation wise. And if it doesn't work out that you get a new building in the Twin Cities, then the NBA will help you strong arm into moving somewhere or something. Like there's not a bad time to get in on the Timberwolves because you're getting in on one of the lowest valued NBA franchises in a league where these things are just exploding in value, probably continuing over the next 5 or 10 years.
If you don't mind threatening, I agree completely. But like if you basically have been told, hey, guess what? You know what, Mark? Seattle expansion, Vegas expansion. And we do not, and we will fight to keep that market. And then the market says, yeah, but you're not going to get a building. That I'm just saying it gives them more time.
The NBA would help you fight. The NBA would help
to explore.
You fight.
Well, if they will, and if you don't mind, if you absolutely don't mind, and say, you know what, I don't care. I own this team. Hell, if I move this team, the valuation goes way up probably. So yeah, but this does give him more time, because I think Mark is probably fine. And my guess is with his friendship circle, he can probably find investors if Alex is basically deemed not a viable owner candidate. It just gives you more time to explore things.
And he doesn't even need like friends. I mean, how many? If you just said
investors, yeah.
If you just said right now, hey,
Shark Tank,
we got to there's an extra 15% of an NBA franchise that unexpectedly opened up. Who wants in? I think a lot of rich people would say yes, give me in, including, and I joked about it, but Derek Jeter probably still has the itch to be a part of an organization of some kind. Maybe he wants to stick to baseball. But
how bad would that chop A-Rod's ass if Derek Jeter swooped in and picked up a stake that he had?
It would be great. No mistake, it'd be hilarious.
I think Jeter still can't stand that guy.
Yeah, did you see the body language on the they brought Jeter on next to A-Rod on the Michael K. A-Rod cast, and Jeter was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, he does not. He can't hide his disdain, which I absolutely love.
It's appreciated. Spiral-light candles are all the rage, aren't they?
Oh,
You've been getting a lot of feedback from fair-goers and stuff.
They are indeed, and here is why. Well, first of all, several great candles, several great scents, which burn from inside, and then, because they're called spiral, they burn down, and then they've got a wick inside. And what am I holding here? Because you're like, Judd, that looks like a purple daily type of candle. That's exactly right. Spiral Light Candles has designed Judd's Purple Positivity candles, so when things, things might not go well sometimes. Cousins might throw a pick. Something bad might happen, and you get up from the couch and you're shaking your fist and you're mad, but you know what's going to calm you down? A Spiral Light Candle available right now at the base of the grandstand at the State Fair, or by going to spirallightcandles.com. It's a great gift for a Vikings fan, or guess what? With all their scents and candles, it's a great gift period for your mom, for your girlfriend, your wife, heck, your husband, perhaps. SpiralLightCandles.com. Check them out. And again, check into Judd's Purple Positivity Candle, because when all hell is breaking loose, that candle's going to keep you calm.
Federated Mutual Insurance Company, longtime partners of the Minnesota Timberwolves, by the way. They are all about equity, integrity, teamwork, and respect. And these four cornerstones create the foundation that supports all interactions and decision-making between Federated and your business and everything that they do on a day-to-day basis. You can find out how Federated can protect your business against unforeseen risks on the horizon, help you maximize the success of your business at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, boys, that's a wrap on Mackey and Judd here today. Again, if you want our full deep dive into the Vikings roster cuts, Kellen Mond, he gone, you can check out Purple Daily. And also don't forget, Purple Daily on the YouTube channel is the home of Vikings Ventline, the most fan-friendly and interactive and, dare I say, biggest and most popular and best Vikings post-game show in the world, where we bring you guys into the video with us every single week, a week and a half away from Vikings Ventline debuting in 2022. So be sure to be subscribed to both the Purple Daily YouTube channel and the Score North YouTube channel. We'll see you guys tomorrow.